Hello everyone, and welcome to an early access review of The Long Dark, an open world survival game by Hinterland Studio. Before I get started with my review, I kind of want to take a second to talk about early access reviews in general, and just kind of address the fact that I know a lot of people don't agree with reviewing early access titles, because obviously they're unfinished and there's still features missing. Early access and Xbox One game preview titles are obviously works in progress, but they are works in progress you actually have to pay for. They're not like a beta where you may be given free access, although there's a whole bunch of examples of paid beta access now, but we'll ignore that. While the developer may have a whole laundry list of features they plan to implement in the game eventually, there's no guarantee those features will ever actually make it into the game. In fact, there's no guarantee that the developer will even finish the game at all. There are many examples of early access games on Steam that have never been finished and probably will never be finished. So because of that, I do think it's fair to review what these games are now, because honestly that's probably what people should be basing their purchase on, not what the game could be eventually, because you may never get that, but instead focusing on the game you'll get right now. So with that in mind, my primary goal of this early access review series is to kind of let people know what these games are in their current state. My plan is to focus on good games, or at least games that show some potential. I'm going to try to avoid doing too many videos on bad early access games unless I feel like a game really deserves it, or people really need to be warned about it. For the most part, bad games are probably going to be covered in recap videos that I'm going to release every so many weeks or something like that. But basically, I'm not going to waste your time or mine searching Steam for trash just to make videos about it. There's plenty of bad early access games out there, but I don't really feel like giving them attention when I could instead be giving attention and giving a review on a good game, or at least a decent game that's trying. So anyway, that's my early access spiel. I'm not going to do this at the beginning of every video, but since this is my first early access review, I figured it was worth mentioning my thoughts on early access and why I'm doing the videos at all. Alright, so now we'll talk about the game. The Long Dark is obviously a survival game, as I mentioned earlier. But it's a survival game where there are no zombies, no dinosaurs, no other players wandering around. There are no people to help, no armies of NPCs to fight. You just awaken in the Canadian wilderness with one goal: survive. The decision to stay out and fish a couple hours even though you're tired could save your life the next day. If a blizzard leaves you trapped inside, that fish could be the difference between starving to death and not. However, you could just as easily stay out late fishing, and then because you're tired, you sprain your ankle on the way back, causing you to limp all the way back to your hut or shack or whatever you happen to be in, and freeze to death on the way there. So every decision you make impacts the rest of your game. This helps to create an amazing tension that helps immerse you in the game and make you really care about what's going to happen next. And I think that's what makes The Long Dark such an enjoyable survival experience. There is currently no single player campaign, although there is one coming eventually. Currently there is just a sandbox mode. In the sandbox mode, you are dropped into a random location on one of 6 maps. You start with a limited number of supplies, and your only goal is just to survive as long as you can. The first few times you'll probably die early. I know my first time, I think I lasted maybe a day in game time. However, the second time you're probably more likely to make it to 2 or 3 days. So as you learn how the game works, you're going to be able to survive for longer and longer. I want to say the longest amount of time I've made it is, I think, 14, 15 days or so. And that character is actually still there. As you play the game will autosave. It'll take one of 5 sandbox slots that you have. If you exit the game, you can pick up where you left off. However, the game does have a permadeath system. So in the event that you die of dehydration, or eaten by wolves, or eaten by bear, your save files are wiped. While some may consider this mechanic a little harsh, it is absolutely critical to keeping that tension I mentioned earlier. Without it, you really wouldn't care about the game as much. You wouldn't be on the edge of your seat as you're wandering around blindly in a blizzard freezing to death. You also wouldn't feel that ping of fear as a wolf starts to howl. Without the fear of death, you would lose what makes this game so special. In The Long Dark, combat is rare, but it is exciting when it occurs. However, you will spend most of your time trying to avoid combat rather than participate in it. The majority of your time will be spent exploring, scavenging for supplies, and doing other things to keep you alive.
Whew. I'm not sure I'm gonna make it.
If you survive long enough, you may even find yourself doing some crafting. Although the crafting system is pretty limited right now, it is rewarding with meaningful items that actually do make it worth the time invested. Like most survival games, The Long Dark has a high level of replayability, with up to 6 maps and 3 different difficulty settings. As previously mentioned, the game drops you into a random location at the start of each map. The game also randomly spawns items throughout the map. Certain locations may be more likely to have certain items, but there's no guarantee you'll find them there. While I do have a lot of good things to say about the game, it isn't perfect. Many of the interactions you have in the game simply involve clicking a button and waiting for a timer to count down. Starting a fire, cooking, fishing, skinning, searching drawers, all of these things involve simply staring at a progress bar, waiting for it to finish. Having a drawer actually open and letting me pick through the items that are in that drawer myself, or adding some sort of interaction when fishing or starting a fire that increases my chance of success, those things would go a long way to making the game a lot more enjoyable in those moments. Graphically, this game doesn't do anything to get very excited about. The art direction is actually pretty good, and when you're standing out in the middle of a frozen lake looking at the mountains, it does look beautiful. However, as soon as you get up close, textures and objects look pretty rough. Dead bodies, for example, look like they were produced from some kind of lumberjack sex doll factory. Their faces are flat, they're just wrong. Still, the graphics never caused me to enjoy the game any less, and the game ran great during my time with it.
Man, I could use a drink.
Overall, this is probably the most fun I've had just surviving in a game. After every death, I immediately wanted to start again. While this is an early access game, and it's still a work in progress just like any other early access game, what's currently here is more than enough to justify the $20 price tag. Also, I feel like the updates the developer has put out so far are really a good sign for future content. Okay, so for me, this is a great game. I'm not a huge fan of survival games. I do somewhat enjoy them, but I'm not somebody who's out there just looking for survival games. This still really grabbed my attention. I really enjoyed every moment I put into it. I'm also really excited to see what they're going to do with the story mode. But even as it is right now, this game is a great game. For me, this game's an 8. Okay, so I gave my score and you'd think I'm done, but I'm not. I'm going to talk about some positives and negatives that could turn this 8 out of 10 into a 9 out of 10 for you, or potentially a 5 out of 10, depending on your preferences. So if you're a huge fan of survival games, this is probably closer to a 9 out of 10 for you. As I said, I'm not, but I would say as a survival fan, this is a must-buy. I really haven't seen a survival game do what this game has done. It could be out there, I could have missed it, but as far as a pure survival experience, I really doubt there's anything as pure as this out there. Okay, so on the negative side, as I mentioned, the textures in this game are rough. If rough textures or ugly graphics make your eyes bleed, this game isn't for you. Avoid it. If slow gameplay isn't for you, this probably isn't your cup of tea either. If you hate playing a game where there's no clear objective and no specific goal in the game, because as I said, the goal is simply to survive at the moment. The story mode may add a little bit, but as of right now, your goal is simply just survive. So if you don't like not having a goal, again, this game may not be for you. So for a survival fan, I'd say maybe a 9 out of 10. For somebody who has issues with graphics, or hates slow gameplay, or simply just doesn't like not having a goal, this may be a 5 out of 10. Honestly, you should probably avoid it. So anyway, these alternative scores are something I'm trying. They may not be in every video if people hate it, but it's something I'm trying, so let me know what you think. I'm basically putting this in there because I am giving a score, and there are a lot of reasons not to score games. I think the biggest issue with scores in games is the fact that they're very personal. So for me, this game is an 8 out of 10, but I tried to kind of recognize why the game may be a 5 out of 10 for some people because of certain reasons. And it very legitimately may be that 5 out of 10 for them. They may hate it. So anyway, I'm just trying to put all the information out there I can. If you hate it, please let me know. So anyway, that's my review for The Long Dark. If you liked it, maybe give it a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Feel free to leave comments below telling me what you did or didn't like. I realize the video may be a little rough in spots, but I am trying to work on quality as I go, so let me know what you think. Let me know what I could improve, and that'll help a whole lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.